March Madness in full swing, of course, and everybody loves an upset except for Locked On Wildcats because it was at the expense of their team. Princeton taking down Arizona. And I hadn't seen many people calling for this one in an upset. So watching it live, what was it like for you to see, Mike?
Well, this was just a difficult game all the way around because the first thing is, you got Arizona, you got Julius Tabellas, who's obviously the best player on the court, but he didn't really get any help out here, especially from the perimeter. When you got Kurt Kriisa going 1 of 8 from the field with 4 turnovers, Courtney Ramey going 4 of 10, Pella Larson not doing anything either, Sed Henderson. Basically, it was just kind of a comedy of destruction there on the perimeter. And when you just have Julius Tabellas and Umar Ballo doing that, quite frankly, that's just not good enough. But honestly, I guess a team like Princeton, you should still be able to beat them, especially because Princeton was 4 of 24 from 3-point range. So it's not like they shot the lights out or anything. But honestly, there's no way to sugarcoat this. This was a devastating performance.
And I mean, it has to hurt a little bit more because when you're looking at this, it's not a Cinderella necessarily making these crazy unbeatable shots. It almost felt a little bit like the Wildcats beat themselves.
Yeah, very, very much so. And the thing about this, and Tommy Lloyd was just talking about this a little bit in the presser, is that, when they're not hitting shots, when they're not, they've got to find other ways to be able to get in there. They got to find other ways to be able to score. And they just weren't able to do that. And down the stretch, I mean, watching it live, watching it on TV, this was a spot where Arizona just they didn't embrace the moment. You see teams all the time that embrace the moment there, and they didn't embrace the moment. And not only did they not embrace the moment, it didn't look like anybody wanted the ball. And I think when you're a top 2 seed, that's something you want. That's something you expect, that you want to be able to have a team that's going to embrace the ball. And they didn't have any of that.
When you look forward, obviously, you're a top 2 seed. The talent is there on this team. Is it just veteran experience that they need a little bit more to kind of alleviate some of these concerns when they're getting into these high pressure moments and they're not coming through?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like you said, when you're a number 2 seed, you expect to be able to beat teams like this. And I think a big question, and again, I'm just going off a lot of what Tommy Lloyd said in his presser, is that you've got to be able to have, listen, this is a game that you should win. There's just no really other way around it. This is a game that you should win. And Arizona they didn't have any of that gusto to it. They didn't have any of that spunk. And, honestly, I don't know where you quite go from here, to be honest, because you've got this is a team, that's got a lot of extra players. It's got a lot of older players on it. And you didn't really see a lot of improvement. You didn't see a lot of guys at the end of the game that clearly wanted the ball, that clearly wanted to embrace that moment. And I think that's what's frustrating if you're an Arizona fan, is that they were there all season, and then when it really mattered, really nowhere to be found.
Mike, we appreciate you. We know you're live there at the game, so you got to see it firsthand, and we'll get a lot more on Locked On Wildcats into a recap of what exactly went down and the whole season. Of course, check out Locked On College Basketball as well. All of this part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.